Most people think cooling a house is about fighting heat. Bigger air conditioners, more powerful systems, higher electricity bills, all designed to push back against the outside world. But that approach assumes something important, that the only way to stay cool is to overpower your environment. And that assumption has shaped the way modern homes are built, the way systems are designed, and the way energy is consumed. Yet, just a few feet beneath your home, something completely different is happening. Something stable, quiet, and almost unaffected by the chaos above. Because while surface temperatures can swing from extreme heat in the summer to freezing cold in the winter, the Earth just 4 to 5 feet down remains remarkably consistent, often holding a temperature close to the yearly average, around 55 degrees Fahrenheit in many regions. And that stability isn't a coincidence. It's a direct result of how heat moves through soil. Because soil doesn't respond quickly to temperature changes, it absorbs heat slowly, releases it slowly, acting like a massive natural buffer that smooths out the extremes. And this creates an opportunity that most people overlook. Instead of cooling air using energy-intensive machines, you can cool it by simply moving it through the ground itself, using nothing more than a buried pipe, a concept often referred to as an earth tube or ground-coupled heat exchanger, where hot outside air is drawn through a long pipe buried deep enough to access stable soil temperatures. And as that air travels through the pipe, it gradually exchanges heat with the surrounding earth, losing energy as it moves until by the time it reaches your home, it is significantly cooler than when it entered, sometimes by 10, 20, or even 30 degrees depending on conditions. And all of this happens without compressors, without refrigerants, and without the constant demand for electricity that defines modern cooling systems. And what makes this even more interesting is that this idea is not new. It has been used in different forms for centuries, long before modern air conditioning existed. Because people understood something we've largely forgotten, that working with natural systems is often more efficient than trying to dominate them. Early structures in various parts of the world used underground channels to regulate temperature, pulling air through the earth to moderate indoor conditions, and even in the early 20th century, agricultural manuals describe similar systems for ventilating and cooling farm buildings, simple designs that required minimal materials but delivered consistent results. But over time, as mechanical systems became more advanced and more widely available, these passive methods were gradually replaced, not because they stopped working, but because newer technologies offered greater control, faster response times, and the ability to maintain precise indoor temperatures regardless of external conditions. And while that convenience came at the cost of increased energy consumption, it also created a mindset where passive solutions were seen as outdated or insufficient, even though the physics behind them never changed. And to understand why earth tubes still work today, you need to look deeper into how heat actually behaves. Because heat transfer isn't just about temperature differences, it's also about time. When the sun heats the surface of the earth, that energy doesn't instantly penetrate deep into the soil. Instead, it moves slowly, creating a thermal wave that takes months to travel downward, which means the temperature at a depth of 4 feet is not reflecting the current weather, but rather an average of past conditions, often influenced by the previous season. So, in the middle of summer, when the surface is at its hottest, the ground below is still carrying the cooling influence of winter. And this delay is what makes earth tubes effective. They tap into that stable, delayed temperature rather than the extreme conditions at the surface. But the performance of these systems isn't identical everywhere, because soil composition plays a major role. Dry soil, for example, contains more air pockets, which reduces its ability to transfer heat, while moist soil conducts heat much more efficiently, allowing for better temperature exchange between the air inside the pipe and the surrounding earth. And this means that in regions with higher soil moisture, earth tube systems tend to perform better, delivering more consistent cooling, while in arid environments, their effectiveness may be reduced unless additional design considerations are made, such as increasing pipe length or depth, and design itself is one of the most critical factors in determining whether an earth tube system works well or fails. Because while the concept is simple, the details matter. One of the most commonly cited concerns is the risk of condensation and mold. And this concern is valid. When warm, humid air enters a cooler pipe, the temperature drop causes moisture in the air to condense on the inner surface. And if that moisture is allowed to accumulate, it can create an environment where mold and bacteria can grow, which is obviously not desirable in a system designed to deliver air into a living space. But this issue is not inherent to the concept. It is a result of poor design, and it can be addressed with relatively simple solutions, the most important of which is ensuring that the pipe is installed with a slight slope, typically around 1%, so that any condensation that forms can drain away naturally, rather than pooling inside the system, along with proper drainage points or gravel beds to carry moisture away, and maintaining airflow to prevent stagnation. Because moving air reduces the likelihood of buildup, and when these elements are properly implemented, the system becomes far more reliable and significantly reduces the risk of contamination. And beyond moisture management, other design factors also play a role, such as pipe material, diameter, and length. Smooth-walled pipes are preferred because they reduce resistance and minimize areas where debris or moisture can collect. Larger diameters allow for greater airflow but may reduce the rate of heat exchange if the air moves too quickly, while longer pipes increase the contact time between the air and the soil, improving cooling performance, but also requiring more space and excavation. And depth is equally important, because the pipe must be placed deep enough to access stable temperatures, but not so deep that installation becomes impractical. And all of these variables create a balance that must be considered when designing a system for a specific location. And this is where many simplified explanations fall short, because they present earth tubes as a universal solution, when, in reality, they are a context-dependent system that performs best when tailored to local conditions. And, even when designed correctly, it's important to understand what these systems can and cannot do, because while they can significantly reduce the temperature of incoming air, they are not capable of achieving the same level of cooling as a modern air conditioning system under all circumstances, especially in extremely hot or humid climates, where the temperature difference between the air and the soil may not be sufficient to reach comfortable indoor levels on its own. But that doesn't make them ineffective. It simply changes their role. Instead of replacing mechanical cooling entirely, they can be used to reduce the workload on those systems, lowering energy consumption, extending equipment lifespan, and providing a level of passive cooling that continues to function even when power is limited or unavailable. And that last point is where their value becomes most apparent, because in a situation where electricity is unreliable or unavailable, having a system that can still moderate indoor temperatures without external input can make a significant difference in comfort and survivability. And this ties into a broader concept that goes beyond cooling, the idea of designing systems that rely less on constant input and more on inherent stability. Systems that don't need to be actively maintained at all times to continue functioning. And earth tubes are one example of that philosophy. They are simple, largely passive, and based on principles that don't change, and while they may not offer the precision or convenience of modern systems, they provide something equally important: resilience, the ability to continue working under conditions where more complex systems may fail. And in a world where most solutions are built on increasing complexity, increasing energy use, and increasing dependence on external infrastructure, there is something powerful about a system that moves in the opposite direction, becoming simpler, more independent, and more aligned with natural processes. Because ultimately, the goal of any survival or efficiency strategy is not just to perform well under ideal conditions, but to continue functioning when those conditions change. And that is where systems like this stand out. Not because they are perfect, but because they are consistent. They don't rely on perfect inputs, they don't require constant attention, and they don't fail suddenly when a single component stops working. They operate quietly in the background, using the natural properties of the environment to maintain a level of stability that would otherwise require continuous effort. And once you start looking at your home or your systems through that lens, you begin to see opportunities, not just to improve efficiency, but to reduce dependency, to build setups that are less vulnerable to disruption and more capable of sustaining themselves over time. And that shift in thinking is what makes something as simple as a buried pipe more than just a cooling trick. It turns it into a strategy.
A way of rethinking how you interact with the environment around you, not as something to fight against, but as something to work with. And when you do that, you start to realize that some of the most effective solutions are not the most advanced or the most expensive, but the ones that take advantage of principles that have been there all along, waiting to be used, quietly, consistently, and without the need for constant control, because sometimes the most efficient system isn't the one that does the most work, it's the one that lets physics do the work for you.